We claim that one of the most fundamental rights as Americans is equal access to justice under the law. But for low-income, elderly, and underserved Americans, our justice system is anything but accessible. For nearly a half a century, the Legal Services Corporation has worked to change it. And as the single largest funder of civil legal aid in this country, you support more than 130 organizations across America. That includes 3 legal aid nonprofits in Illinois: Legal Aid Chicago, Prairie State Legal Services, and Land of Lincoln Legal Aid. These organizations provide indispensable legal counsel to elderly Illinoisans who've been financially exploited, low-income families struggling to keep a roof over their head, consumers subjected to fraud, and a lot of other people who are in need. You're the champions for our most vulnerable citizens. And we need to make sure that you have the money you need to create a more just America. Fortunately, there is a broad bipartisan support for LSC in Congress because we all recognize the important work legal aid organizations do for our constituents. So I'm going to work with my colleagues across the aisle to include robust funding for LSC in this year's appropriations bill. Thanks for defending the people of Illinois and all underserved Americans.
Hi, I'm Texas Senator John Cornyn. I want to wish you all a warm welcome to this year's annual Fly-In Advocacy event. While it looks a little different than past fly-ins, I applaud you for holding it anyway. As we've all experienced over the last year, we're living in unprecedented times. And sadly, as many of you know, we've seen rates of domestic violence and housing issues rise abruptly during this time. I'm glad to have been able to help by championing LSC funding through my time in office, and I look forward to continuing that fight. Thank you for all the work you do to help those in need of legal assistance. I speak on behalf of my entire state when I tell you how grateful we are. So keep up the great work and enjoy the rest of your event.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of your virtual fly-in. I've always enjoyed interacting with you on this occasion and look forward to when we can come back together in person. I'm particularly interested in this year because, as you know, COVID-19 has exposed some real serious issues as it relates to the legal rights of many of our citizens. Nowhere has it been hardest than in the world of housing. Housing has been a big problem all over the country, but particularly in my congressional district. Although we have made provisions for homeowners and for renters and for landlords, nothing beats being able to rely on legal help when it is needed. And as you know, you can go from state to state, and the help that's needed will be very different. I'm particularly concerned about places like North Charleston, South Carolina, that leads the nation, according to one study up at Princeton University, in evictions. Why is it that North Charleston is leading the nation in evictions? Why is it that Columbia is number 5 or 6? And it's interesting to me that we have these kinds of issues taking place around communities where the military is so present. And I keep wondering whether or not there's a nexus. And if it is, those who are victims are not equipped to know. And such will require legal assistance. And it's kind of interesting that this fly-in is taking place during the month of April. That's been designated as Fair Housing Month. And nothing can be more important to anyone than fairness when they find themselves in jeopardy of losing a home or losing a place to live. And so I want to thank you for what you do, and that you know that you can continue to count on me to help carry out your duties and responsibilities to those who are in need of legal assistance. Thank you and Godspeed.